Hello, users of the interwebs. This is the BTN Football Report crew, at least for this week. Doing my best Mike Hall impersonation. I'm Rick Pizzo. Gerry DiNardo and Howard Griffith are the same upset individuals as you normally see each week on the Football Report. All right, fellas, I know over this past week, spent some time in Evanston, watched Northwestern, the spring practice. You were impressed, but let's get right down to brass tacks. This team comes off their first bowl win in 6 decades. Will they contend for the Legends Division title?
Are you asking me, Rick?
Directly, sir.
I'm to answer the question first.
That's correct.
I will do so. I absolutely think they're going to be contenders. I think when you look at what this team has, a veteran quarterback, veteran wide receivers, and running backs, I think this team is really poised to do something special. Now, I say that as a guy who walks away from each one of these practices saying, I don't know how they're going to do it, but they're going to get it done because of the coaching staff that they have. I left this practice saying, wow, this is a really good football team.
You know, that's a problem because we usually do leave saying, I don't know. I mean, they don't look very good. And they won 10 games.
Yeah.
This year, I think we've both said this, that's the best spring practice we've seen Northwestern have in 7 years. But with the veteran quarterback, with the receivers they have, I mean, they've got some big dynamic receivers. Ben McMark's back. I don't think there's any question about this. They'll be one of the better teams in the Legends. Now, winning the conference, they've got to cross over against Ohio State, Wisconsin, which is doable, but I'm saying they have a tough crossover.
Yeah, one thing we know about this team is they can move the football against anybody. When you look at that, I think if you had any questions, it'll be some concerns on the other side, on the defensive side of the football, particularly at the defensive line. They have to have some guys that really can step up and really stop the run. I think there's some questions there, but it keeps coming back up. To me, is that you watch this team compete, and they're so competitive in practice. To me, the practice was at another notch that I was not accustomed to seeing in practice at. And it really speaks volumes to not only their abilities, but the talent that they have amassed over the last couple of years is pretty good.
And an up-tempo practice without full pads. They only have 9 offensive linemen. So what Fitz has done is he has said the only day we're going to have full pads is when we scrimmage on Saturday. All the other days we're going to be in half pads, shoulder pads and helmets, or whatever the NCAA allows you. Sometimes you can't wear shoulder pads and helmet at all. But the point is they weren't in full pads, and yet that was a heck of a practice.
Now, interesting because we heard Gerry say veteran quarterback, but it could really be construed as veteran quarterbacks because you have both Coulter and Simeon back again. And if there was, I guess, one criticism perhaps of this coaching staff last year, it was the use of those two guys. Were they both being put in the right places at the right times to win games? It's hard to argue with 10 wins. I guess the question I'm asking is, should we expect the very same thing this year? Or based on what you saw, does anything go a little bit differently than it did in 2012?
I think we could see something different. I think we might see more of Kane Coulter than we saw a year ago. Expectations have changed. They've won the bowl. They've been to 6 in a row. We're talking about them winning the Legends and competing for the Big Ten championship. I think with that comes pressure. You start yanking those quarterbacks in and out, and you don't look like $1 million every Saturday, you know, people start getting critical.
Simeon, one of the things that he does outstanding, obviously, is being a pocket quarterback, being able to throw the ball. But one of the things he's not really that special at is really running the decide play. Now, you look at Kane Coulter, he can become a better passer.
Right.
So his passing skills can get better as the spring goes on and also into the summer. So he can be a much more dynamic player than he's been even in the past.
And as we all know, perhaps most importantly, to this spring practice, the Wildcats did not have to bring the monkey. The bull monkey was left in Jacksonville. It was actually torn apart down in Jacksonville.
Is that factual?
It's factual. I saw the pictures of it being torn apart in Jacksonville. The actual bull monkey.
You liked the monkey, didn't you?
Well,
maybe that was someone else.
No, I didn't like the monkey. Glad it's gone.
I think it's fair to say that Pat Fitzgerald will trade in the monkey for a Legends Division title in 2013.
Most likely.
You never know.
I think he would.
Thanks for playing with us, Rick.
Good seeing you, Rick.